What's going on, everybody? Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. It is Wednesday. We are just 8 days away from the start of the 2026 NFL draft, and we've got another mock draft to do. It's going to be one of the last ones we do in this form, maybe. I may do another one next week, but at the same time, next week, when we get to Wednesday, it's going to be the day before. I don't know if I need to do another mock the day before the draft. But maybe I'll feel like we need to. I don't know. I'm probably going to do a mock draft simulation party on stream at some point. I usually do that. So maybe that'll end up kind of replacing the mock draft for next week. But maybe I'll decide to do a video form one anyway. So this is going to be 14.0. We are nearing the end of our journey here. And it's been a lot of fun. And we are experimenting even more today. This video is sponsored by Prize Picks. More on them a little bit later. So mock draft 14.0, and one thing that we started doing with the last mock is trading, so we're going to go ahead and do that again in this mock. Now, I know that it would be kind of intriguing to consider the possibility of trading up, but I think we all kind of know this team is not going to trade up from 32, especially when they don't have a lot of capital. So it feels like that would be a waste of time. So I'm not going to think about that. We are trading down. We're going to be trading down, and this is going to be about as deep a trade down as I would like to do. This is actually probably a little bit outside my comfort zone, but I'm going to take 32 and trade it to the Minnesota Vikings for their pick in the second, which is 49, and then I'm going to pick up their third rounder at 82. So that's pretty good. It is a fair trade on the charts, but going all the way back to 49, that is only something I'd be willing to do if I felt like the first 31 picks in the draft went really, really badly for Seattle, and there was just nothing that excited me for several picks. I think there's going to be a chance to get a player I'm pretty excited about at 32, and also probably one if you trade back a little bit to like 35 or 39. But 49 to me is just like, that's just get me out of here territory, but that is a possibility. It's not a great draft. That could happen. So I don't want to completely rule out the possibility that we do end up feeling like going back to the second and picking up an extra third is a better play than just spending our first to spend our first. Okay, so this leaves our first pick at 49, so middle of the second round. We're going with Gabe Yakas of Illinois, the edge. I've already drafted him a couple times, but I've never drafted him in this spot. He just keeps on moving up. And I want to say this. Like I said in my video talking about Yakas, I do have some reservations here, but I see it as a good bet. Gabe Yakas, to me, should be better against the run than he is. I'm a little bit disturbed by the fact that Illinois used him the way they did. But I look at him and I see the tools and the potential to be a good all-around edge. So I'm hoping that when he gets to the NFL, he figures that out. Because I don't think he has it figured out right now. And that's going to be a problem in this defense in particular. So if Gabe Yakas ends up just being another Daryl Taylor type where he's just a pass rusher, that's a problem. But I'll take the gamble here. It's not a great draft. And look, if Yakas can figure out the run defense stuff, he becomes a pretty special player. So that is my first pick. At 49, we're picking Gabe Yakas. Do you like sports? If you do, then the best way to make them even better and more exciting is using Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. Prize Picks makes daily fantasy simple. Just pick more or less on your favorite players' projections and build lineups with a few taps. Whatever sport you're into, Prize Picks gives you a fun way to stay locked in while you're watching. I've had a great time using Prize Picks so far. It makes this daily fantasy thing so easy and fun, and it even makes watching the games way more exciting. And with the cool social feeds feature, you can share lineups with your friends and even follow partners to tail or fade their picks. Obviously, we're in the NFL offseason right now, but we've got basketball, baseball, hockey, all kinds of other stuff, so don't be afraid to test things out in whatever sport clicks with you. You can even pick multiple sports in the same lineup and sweat everything at once. And don't forget about team picks, where you can pick winners, spreads, and totals on any major game. So, download Prize Picks, America's #1 sports app. And don't forget, Code HMA, that is HMA, gives you $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize picks. It's good to be right. And remember, always gamble responsibly. All right, so that's the second rounder. We have another second rounder, of course, our natural one. Keith Abney, the second, is going to be my pick here, the Arizona State corner. This is kind of like you get past that first wave of corners, which I am into, the Chris Johnson, Brandon Cisse, um, Colton Hood, and shoot, shoot, what's his name? Shoot, why am I blanking? Why am I blanking? It's the guy who's really good in. Well, you guys, whatever. I don't want to stop the video to look it up right now, but you guys know who I'm talking about. Those four cornerbacks that the Seahawks could get at 32 or maybe even a tiny bit later. Abney is kind of like the consolation prize to me if you can't get one of those four. Keith Abney, the second of Arizona State, is a smaller corner, but he plays on the boundary, and he's shown that he can do some stuff to overcome his physical limitations. So to me, Keith Abney, the second, is a gamble, but theoretically, he's what we need. If he can figure it out, he's what we need. He's got great ball skills. There's plenty to like here. I think that Keith Abney II is a very appealing cornerback to go after once you get to this range. You got to get past that first wave of corners that I really like, but if you do, you're doing pretty well here. Third round. The third round pick I picked up, we're going to mix it up a little bit. Daryl Jackson Jr., nose tackle from Florida State. This is a true blue nose tackle. He's big, he's squat, he's huge, he's wide. He doesn't get to the quarterback very much, but he will eat up space in the middle. This would handle that true nose tackle situation that we do talk about sometimes on this channel, where Seattle, despite being great against the run, does not have a true nose tackle. You get Daryl Jackson Jr., that takes care of that problem. And I do think there are some teams out there like the Rams that can exploit the fact that we are undersized in the middle. And Daryl Jackson Jr. would make us not undersized in the middle. So it would be a little bit awkward to get snaps for everybody, but it's possible that a guy like Daryl Jackson, who, by the way, can't play a ton because of conditioning, would be able to make this work and have it play to his benefit where he doesn't have to play that much. So Daryl Jackson Jr. is my first third-round pick, and then we have another third-round pick, Jonah Coleman. We need a running back here, local guy. We have met with him with a local visit. I've talked about him before, but he's skilled runner, got a little bit of power, got a little bit of oomph to him. He's a good pass catcher. Maybe not a great one, but overall a good pass catcher. And he seems to have a good feel for the position. He seems to have a good understanding for the demands of the position. So if you get Jonah Coleman, he's part of your rotation. The one issue being I view him style-wise, I do view him kind of style-wise as redundant with what we have. I would rather get a speed back. I would rather get somebody with a little more elusiveness than Coleman, who is a bigger back. But at the same time, if we're going to wait this long and we're not going to get a mid-day 3 pick to try to get Claiborne, there's not a ton you can do here. So Coleman to me is, I'm not thrilled about it, but I think he can help us win. So good set of picks here. We're doing stuff to help our team, I think. And my final pick is going to be a 6th rounder, Jacob Thomas of Miami, the safety. Oh, mostly just special teams, but I did talk about him a little bit in my safety video. He is good. And that is the draft. And I feel pretty good about that. It's not my favorite. We have done some things here that could easily not work out. Like, off the top of my head, the issue with this draft is I see downside. Excuse me, I got a thing in my throat. But I see real downside here. Yakus, if he doesn't figure out how to defend the run, he doesn't really bring much to the table that we want or need. Keith Abney, he is small. If he can't overcome that to be able to play outside, then he's a slot corner, which we already have a lot of, and then he doesn't do much for us. Jackson could just be a big guy that never really learns how to meaningfully play the position. Coleman, he's like a bigger back that doesn't really run with power. That's a little bit funky. That's a little bit weird. So there is a scenario where we end up with these 4 players who I do think can all be good and meaningful, but I see downside that I don't see with other players. Like if we get a guy like Chris Johnson or a guy like TJ Parker, I don't see that downside. Those guys will be good. Maybe they won't be great, but they'll be good. These guys could end up kind of bottoming out pretty low. So that would be the one thing that I don't love about this, but at the same time, in this draft, those are the risks that you may have to take at some point. And I don't hate at least bringing it up as a hypothetical. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. We got more videos coming later. Everyone have a good rest of your morning. Keep an eye out for more draft stuff. See you guys later. Go Hawks. And everyone have a great rest of your Wednesday.